Okay, hi, it's Doug, and you're here for an episode of Doug Talks Tech. And today we're going to talk about backing up your photos. We're going to look at a couple of things. We're going to look at iCloud, because a lot of you use iCloud to back up, and also a lot of you have run into the 5 gig limit. And so we're going to talk about alternatives to iCloud and some of the strengths of iCloud and the things that you can do without affecting your 5 gigabyte limit. So the other thing that we want to just talk through a little bit here is who is this for? So this session is for Android and iPhone users that are not currently backing up their photos, or they just want to free up some space on their phone. So if I'm going to delete photos from my phone, I need to know that I've got a backup, at least of the ones I want to keep. And then we're also going to talk about iPhone users who have been backing up to iCloud but have hit the 5 gigabyte limit. So there is some alternatives. So I talked to someone the other day who had gone out and bought one of these SanDisk, they call them IXPAND flash drives, and they come in a variety of sizes, 32 gigs to 64, even a 256 gig and 128, I think. But for a lot of people, I think at 5 megabytes per photo, you're going to fit probably 12,000 photos in a 64 gig disk. So that should last you for a long time. Anyways, the way this device works is you simply plug it into, there's an iPhone version and a Android USB version. You plug it into the port you normally charge the phone with. And it's a combination of an on-the-go connection and a USB disk all in one device. So when you plug it in, you load up an app on your phone, which then asks you a number of questions to set up the process, and then it proceeds to back up your photos. And as long as you keep that app in the foreground running, it will back up all of your photos to the disk, to this device. And it also doubles as a USB drive. So you can then take that device, plug it into the USB port on your laptop or desktop computer, and view those pictures, right? So you can, or copy them for that matter. It's a great device. Anytime you plug it in, you can set it up to automatically back up. And so take a look at it. There's no cloud necessary if you're trying to avoid cloud backups of your photos for some reason, then you don't need to do that. Now, I want to talk about the three faces of iCloud. Three faces, not phases, three faces of iCloud. The thing that most people are aware of, I think, is the iCloud photo backup. And that's what they call photo library. And it keeps backups of your photos on all of your device synchronized, so that if you take a picture on your phone, it will be available on your desktop, provided that it's connected into iCloud. And for that, they have a 5 gigabyte limit for free. If you go beyond that 5 gigabyte limit, as many people have, then they are going to want to charge you, or they just stop putting photos up into your iCloud account. So this brings up a question. Okay, so now what do I do? And we'll talk about that in a little bit. But for the time being, I want to talk about two other pieces to this. So there's also what they call My Photo Stream. And you can think about My Photo Stream as a first in, first out kind of a stream. You basically add photos to it, and as they age over time, when they get to 30 days old, they drop off. Okay, so you've always got your 30 days most current photos in your stream, assuming you enable this on your phone. It has a limit of 1,000 photos, which for a lot of people is probably not much of a limit, but they do expire at the end of 30 days. So if you went on a trip and you took 500 photos and share them with people, that's great. They're all there for 30 days, but at the end of that 30 days, they're gone. There's no backup made of them. If you want to keep them, you need to find another way of backing them up. But there's no limit. It doesn't affect your 5 gigabyte limit. So, I mean, it has 1,000 photo limit in the 30 days, yes, but it doesn't count against your iCloud limit. So that's an alternative. If really your main reason for backing up your photos is just so that you have a copy to share with friends and family, then this might work. Another kind of similar arrangement to the photo stream is a thing they call iCloud photo sharing. And photo sharing allows you to create albums, invite people to them. You have a limit of 5,000 photos or videos, and that's capped out. You can even share them with people who don't have an iCloud account. Essentially, what it does is it creates a public web page for you by Apple that you can direct people, your friends and family, to. But it is public. You need to understand that, so that there's anybody theoretically can see it, who finds it can see them. But again, the photos that you put in there don't count against your iCloud limit, and you're just limited to 5,000. At 5,000, you can't add any more, and that's the way that works. Okay, so there may be a useful option here for you within iCloud if you're an iPhone user, and so you just need to think about, maybe the latter two of these two services are okay, and I don't need to worry about it. So the iCloud does some magic, which is, I think, important for us to understand as well. It keeps, when you start to run out of space, and if you've enabled this service, it keeps a lower resolution version of all of your photos on your phone, and keeps the original high-res version in iCloud. Okay, so that saves you some space, and if you allow it, it will actually keep just low-res photos on the phone so you can see them. As soon as you go to use them, then it downloads the higher resolution version, and that high res version then you can create an album with, send them to a local or a web photo service that creates albums or calendars or whatever you want to do with your photos. So you can see in this picture, iCloud Photos is enabled. Optimize iPhone storage does the process that I just talked to you about. It creates a low-res copy if you need the space, and so that way you can have your photos, 5 gigabytes of photos, not taking 5 gigabytes of space on your phone. There's also a switch here for upload to PhotoStream, and you can enable shared albums here. I currently haven't created any, but if you had, this is the place where you'll enable them. So if I do run out of space, what's it going to cost me? And these are the monthly plans in Canadian dollars. It's not super expensive, but it does cost you money, and it's a recurring monthly fee that will get charged to your Visa or whatever account you've associated with your Apple ID. So what if you want to get off the iCloud? All right. So after you know that you have a good backup, and any of the, either Google Photos or some other service or the SanDisk device that I talked to you about, you know that all of your photos are safe somewhere, then you can start mucking around with signing out of iCloud. And when you sign out of iCloud, the photos that are in iCloud are removed from your device. And there's a reason for that. So think of the scenario where you want to pass on a device to someone else, maybe not a family member. So one of the things you do when you do that is you sign out of all of your accounts, your Apple ID, because there's a credit card likely associated with that, your iCloud account. And in order for that person receiving your phone not to have access to all of your photos, they remove all of the iCloud photos from your phone, which is fine, because A, we have a backup, and B, they're still in iCloud. Okay, if that's the only account logged into iCloud, then that's the only device. You don't have a tablet anywhere that's logged into that same iCloud account. Then Apple will only hold those photos for 30 days, and at the end of 30 days, they're removed from iCloud as well. Okay, and there again, this is a privacy thing. They're assuming that you no longer want that device, you're no longer using that device, and therefore your access to those are over. So when you're signed out of all those devices using the same Apple ID or iCloud ID, the photos will disappear 30 days later. And that's how it works. So if the typical process is we back up all your photos. Once we know we've got a good backup, you sign out of your iCloud account on your device, and the photos are removed. But again, we have a backup, so we don't care about that. And then you can be sure that 30 days later they'll be gone from your system. So let's talk about Google Photos. Now, the reason we talk about it is because it provides free unlimited storage of your photos and videos. They are resolution limited. It's only up to 16 megapixel photos, which seems laughingly large, but as these cameras, the cameras within our smartphones are getting better, it won't be long before we have 24 and 32 megapixel cameras, I'm sure, which is why Apple is introducing things like HVAC, which is the next step after H.264, which is the algorithm they use to encode our videos right now. The next version, H.265, Apple calls HVAC, and it's basically it allows them to go up to ultra high definition videos. It's a public standard. Everybody's going to use it and start enabling it. So that's how it works. But because it's a cloud service, Google Photos gives you access to your photos across all of your devices. And that allows you to share them and organize them and have that propagate across your cloud account and every device that's synchronized to that cloud account. So there's a couple of things you need to do. So say you're either importing photos from a PC or you're syncing with the phone or tablet that you have. You'll be asked this question, which is, if you want to keep the original full resolution photo, then you're under the rule of limits associated with your iCloud account or your Google account, which is 15 gigabytes. However, if you're okay to enable the high quality free unlimited storage, it's just good enough quality to share with other people, either in an album or printed album or otherwise. So it's not really there's not really a negative to it. It's just if you're a photo enthusiast and you want what they call the raw footage, the original quality, then, and you have a very high resolution camera in your phone, then this is maybe not going to suit you. But for a lot of people, this is great, and it's free and it's unlimited. So this is the process. So you install Google Photos. Again, the app is free. It's available across all platforms. You connect your Gmail account with your Google account with it, because the Google account that you use for the app within your phone is the way you access your photos. So someone who doesn't have access to the account can't see your photos unless you share them with them. Then within settings, you enable backup and sync, and that's what asks you the question about upload size. And if you choose high quality free and limited storage, then you have good quality backup. Navigating around is a little bit different on the phone and in the browser. So within the phone, you will see these menus across the bottom. So access to my photos, my albums, the assistant, which is a thing that Google does to help you decide how you want to organize, and then sharing. In the browser, there's just a corner capture of the browser. These are just icons down the left-hand side of the screen. The way you would access this in the browser is you would go to these matrix of dots here. You'd pick Google Photos. Photos artwork from the laptop, but here's photos from a trip my wife and I took. I have created, you'll see down the side here, we have albums. These For You is just things that Google has organized for you. Sharing and photo books is a way to get photo books created. The albums is, so here's one, a Montserrat trip I took with my wife in Barcelona. I've just dragged them into this. They've created this sort of montage of photos. You can select, if you mouse over, you'll see a little check mark in the corner comes up. You can select multiples, right? And then if you want to share them with someone, you click on this connected dots at the top here, and then you can enter someone's email address and it will send the ones you've selected to it. You can also download these selected photos, and that's handy if you want to, say, upload them to a photo service and add them to an album, a printed album. So we won't do that here, but that gives you the idea of how that works. And again, within the phone itself, it's very similar. There are the question often comes up, okay, what happens if I delete a photo on my phone? Does it get deleted in Google Photos in the cloud? And the answer is yes. There are, however, 3 ways to delete a photo on a device and leave the cloud copy intact. The first one of these is only available to Android device users. And you tap on the menu, which is the 3 horizontal bars in the upper right. You select device folders, and the reason this is Android only is because on an iPhone there is no device folders. You select the photos that you want, and then you tap delete device copy, right? And you're being very specific. I'm only deleting the copy on the device. The second way would be the way that iPhone users might want to do it. And if you don't have device folders, then you just select one or more photos and then you tap delete device copy. And that one's much more straightforward. And then the third one is different than both of the above. So in this particular case, you go to the menu, which is the 3 horizontal bars, you tap settings, and then you enable the free up device storage. And so in this case, any photo that has been backed up already will be deleted from the device to free up space, okay? But it won't touch photos that are not backed up. Okay, so let's take a look at what this looks like on my Android phone. So what you see here is basically the same photos that we were looking at before. Across the bottom you have access to the photos and photos icon, albums icon, etc., just as you would. Now, if you notice the horizontal bars I talked about, they're actually in a floating, they're in the upper left here. If I click on those, it pops up, gives you my account view, and then you'll see device folders, and free up space is actually a shortcut right in the menu that comes up. You can also go to settings, and free up storage is available there. I currently have backup and sync off, but this is where you would turn it on, right? And if you set up backup and sync, it asks you which account you want to use, and then down here in upload size, you see you can do high quality, free unlimited, or original. And once you pick one, then that's essentially the information that gets recorded or backed up. I'm going to turn this off for now because I have a bunch of other accounts. I don't want to go into this account. So that's how it works. If you want to share with people, you can click share. You can add people to it. The easiest thing here is if you're in Photos and you hold down for more than a second a photo, it selects it, then you can select multiples, and then when you click share up at the top here, you can go down and connect to your accounts as you'd expect to share. Okay, and so that's how that works. Let's just all right, so that's how it works on the app within the phone, and once you've got a clean backup, then you can decide you can go ahead and delete photos. You can delete photos and keep them in the cloud if you want, and that's it. So if there are any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. If you found this useful, give it a thumbs up, and thanks for listening.